Baby's first jet fighter. Hello everyone who just likes to sit and watch your plane float around in the water like a duck. Jet fighters are like ducks, right? I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths. Now, some time ago I did a complete shipbuilding walkthrough where we built a ship and then we tried to stick every possible component on it, except now think about it, it didn't have flamethrowers, because this was back before flamethrowers were even a thing. Now, I want to do that again. This time with planes. But we've got a problem. There are so many different ways to build a plane in From the Depths, and if you try and dump every kind of block onto a plane, you're gonna get a big unwieldy plane, and I don't want to do that. So, the premise here is a little bit different. I want to make this particular series, and hopefully it will be a series, basically making one of every kind of plane, or at least most of them. The basic ones, so to speak. And to start off with, we're going to start nice and simple, and we're going to make a missile plane. So, complete build, missile plane, we'll see how we go, and hopefully this won't need to be split up. So, to start off with, I'm going to delete the thing I have in front of me just now, because I want to build from scratch. So, starting off, what do we want on a missile plane? Firstly, an AI. So this is by far the easiest way to make a plane in From the Depths, because like missiles don't require detection, and if you make them infrared or radar, then like they're fire and forget, and you can just deal with it. So I made an aircraft just the other day, which is debatably a jet fighter. It is, I mean, laser turrets is not what jet fighters usually have, but let's try that. So the one thing you do want on basically any kind of plane, whether it's got like aimed weapons or not, is target prio, target prioritization card. We're gonna go, what are we gonna do here? What kind of plane do we want? I do want just a general purpose missile-y plane, and we're gonna stick radar missiles on it because I can't be bothered, so we're just gonna make it go for the largest target because radar guided missiles go for that anyway. And one thing I like to do with planes just to keep them small is have the local weapon controller attached directly to the AI. So over here, we're probably going to stick missile controllers. Maybe we'll put that over there. And we don't really need detection. Not really. We'll stick a wireless snoop over here. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just needs to be able to tell where the target is. So over there, we have that. And over here, we have our missile controller. And let's see, what can we do here? We can do something like this, actually. Backspace, hold that. We want a staggered fire, we want to identify friend or foe, and we've got the boons of our plane, so to speak. Now, where do we want this? I'm going to just figure out quickly where we actually want our missiles on here. We could stick them there, we probably should. So we're gonna stick 3 medium missiles on this thing. And like I'm fond of saying, alright, so let's do this instead. These are attached. We have no things. And by the way, the advantage of making small planes is like, make them small, make them cheap, make them dirty. And let's figure out here. So we want an APN guidance, and we want a signal processor. I actually want to make this just 1 block longer, so that we can stick fins on the very front, so they're nice and agile. So where is it? Signal processor, reinforced body. Let's stick 1 more fuel tank because I want this to be somewhat quick. Somewhat quick. Gonna make that fast as hell. What's our fuel duration? 8 seconds. Let's make that 10 seconds, and that'll do. And that'll be nice. Now we need to figure out where to put the ammunition, and where you put that is mostly up to you. I am going to actually stick a heavy armor block back here for the simple reason that armor tends to explode. So that's almost enough ammunition on its own. So we are going to stick flares on this. So that would be a good idea. So let's do this. And hopefully that'll stop that cooking off too much. Let's do this as well. And just stop that from exploding like so. So this is very basic plane stuff happening right here. We could make those missile things bigger. We probably don't have to. So the next thing we've got to do, if you actually look at the planes that are in meter, They are very, very compact, so I'm literally just going to stick fuel here, because if this thing gets hit, it's basically just going to die. So there's that. Also needs some kind of surge protectors. This is not ideal, but it will have to do. Probably going to stick one back here as well, just in case. How's our cost? It is below 5,000 blocks. We're going to need some kind of jet here. Now, custom jets are your best friend when it comes to aircraft of all kinds. It's good. So we're going to have some just nice small ones here. I love small custom jets. I think they are fantastic. So we're going to do something like this. And we're going to have the exhaust. Let's make that a 3-meter surge protector. And we're going to go over here. We do need to figure out a place to stick the flares. I think I'm going to stick him out on the wings. Ooh, that's actually an idea. That is an idea. That is an idea. I'm going to preemptively stick an ACB over here. You don't have to. And what else could we do here? We could actually get rid of the wireless snooper. We don't even need a wireless transmitter, so I'm just going to plonk in here a breadboard. Because here's the thing. This is supposed to be a basic plane, but also breadboard is too good not to mention. And I'm pretty sure somebody would yell at me in the comment section if I didn't do a breadboard of some kind. So we're going to have a controller. We don't really need engine power, so we're not going to worry about the generator today. We certainly can later if we want to. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of combustors about... oh, damn. I left off mirror mode. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that's good, and that's good, that's good, and that's good. Jolly good, jolly good. Basic plane shape. Basic plane shape. Basic plane shape. And we could literally just stick a thin layer of alloy around all of this, and we will be having a good time. And I think I will do exactly that. What am I missing? We're gonna stick flares out on the wings, I think. So now we're going to just stick... I like using alloy because it makes the thing have less momentum, which means that it's just a little bit more agile. That is what I personally like to do. And the reason, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, is just to reduce block count, because, again, this thing is made of cardboard. It is not very... Let's see, can I possibly get away with doing that? I don't think so. Let's try this, let's try that. So, internals first, if you want to have a good convenient life with everything. I think just below the ammo, I'm going to make that. We don't have to make that. This is mostly just to stop the ammo cooking off a little bit. No spaced armor, don't shoot this thing with heat. Remember, if you're making a small plane like this, you really just want to have it rely on speed more than anything else. So let's do... Okay, this is not what I wanted. Let's do that. Let's do... We actually are going to have to do something like this. This is just to reduce cost even more, because even this is about 5 materials cheaper than a regular block. And again... Right, so what I tend to do with these, because planes do like to run into each other, rubber tip. Rubber tip for his or her pleasure. We can do something like that. Rubber, rubber, rubber. Rubber, rubber. Rubber, rubber. You're the one. It doesn't have to be alloy, just to be clear. But I tend to prefer making things out of alloy for the aforementioned momentum. So let's do that, and let's do that. We are putting beams around our engines because this is the more squishy part of the whole arrangement. So we're going to do that, and don't worry, we are going to have wings. However, we're going to have wings on our terms. So let's do that. A little blocking in of everything around here. Very nice, very nice. It just occurred to me I want to do this, like so, which means... Gonna do that, gonna do that, gonna do that. This is like an old school let's build. So just cover it. Honestly, if you're relying on evasion for your plane, covering will do the trick. Just make sure your bits are covered The AI is honestly the most exposed part of this whole thing, and that's not part of the idea. However, we can make a sweet-looking cockpit right here, and I'm going to do this. It's going to be a fake cockpit, but it's going to be a good one. There we go, fake cockpit right there, because that is good. I like it. Okay then. Alright, that's starting to look vaguely plane-like. Vaguely. And I'm probably going to undo some of what I've just done, because that's just how BorderWise does things. BorderWise undoes the things he does. Did you know? Did you know, gamer? What's down here? Some of that. Is that on the correct color? Yes, it is. Jolly good. Right. So we have basic plane shape. And we could even, over here, hold on, let's do this. Let's have, what are we gonna have? Let's have another missile controller here to drop flares. And we're gonna name this Shift-N. Flare. We could be lazy and just have that. Like that. Let's go over here. What are we gonna do? Medium rail launcher for that extra bit. And have some... Whoops, that is backwards. That is not what we want. Right, so we're gonna make this one of these a sticky flare. Make the other one a radar flare. Or a radar target decoy, so to speak. I'm gonna just plug this like so. Not sure if that's where the flares usually get spat out. How's our cost? We're about 10,000 materials, so if you want to make it cheaper, make it out of wood, and you should be fine. And we're just going to add some lovely wings right here. 2, 3, 4. That's what I usually do for wings. Right, this is entirely optional, I hasten to mention. Because it just is. Let's see here. Because wings in From the Depths are a lie from the government. They are lying to you. Let's have them flare just a little bit. Like so. Is this optimal aerodynamics? No, the best aerodynamics is actually no wings whatsoever. Just so as you know. I am going to stick just a little teeny itsy bitsy custom control surface right here, which will control roll. So the one on the right is set to roll left, and the one on the left is set to roll right. That makes sense. And we're just going to plug this in like so. Almost no wings. I don't like these wings. I'm going to redo them like so. 1, 2. I want them to actually look like wings. That would be nice. Thank you very please. Does that look more like wings? Not really. How about now? How about now? Sometimes it's engineering and sometimes it's art. You would be surprised actually how often the wings just kind of act like dampeners for, well, stuff like this. Let's go over here, Control V, and Control V. That's our new place for our little thing, and we can always decorate over this later. Okay, very nice. There's our roll control. You notice I'm not actually using wing blocks, and that is because wing blocks are bad and you shouldn't use them. Alright, let's do this, and let's just have something like... We could do something like this. Could make this thing actually unarmored at all, but Flax says hello if you do that, so I don't generally do that. Seems unwise. Let's see here, if I put a wedge here, where does this go? It goes like so. And that's not enough room for what I want to put in here. So I'm going to do this. Air custom pivots. The reason I'm using custom pivots is because they are much stronger than everything else, and just so that we actually get the whole jet fightery vibe, we're going to do this. This is definitely the jet fighter of all time. I will not be taking questions. Whoops. Let's go here, and let's go here, and let's go here. One more pivot. We might not even need bread for this. Might not even need it. Probably should put that more over there, over there. Might need to rethink this entirely. Hold on a minute. Hold on to your hats. Let's do this, and let's do... What is this? Let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this, and that is a tail. This is definitely a plane of all time. You know what? I want 2 of these. Because I can. This is actually smaller than the default prefab, which is like, you know, that's good. I was getting worried I'd forgotten how to build small things, but you know what? That's fine. And turn that off. Turn that on. And let's see how this thing flies. Is that set to yaw? Yes, it is. Perfect. Does this have a cockpit? It could have a cockpit if we really wanted to. I could stick that elsewhere. I could stick that elsewhere. I could stick that elsewhere, but where would it go? Right, so this is going to be slightly janky. I'm going to stick this over here. That is for testing purposes. Bear in mind, a small thing like this is going to get hammered by EMP basically no matter what you do. Alright, that is looking good. I am going to stick just some munition warners hither and thither. Going to stick that... Where am I going to stick that? Here. And on the rear here. And we need one that is up conveniently there. And we need one that is down. That is going to mess with drag. And we do need something pointing forward. Unfortunately... thankfully, we can do something like, what can we do here? Can't block that. That's bad. Where's it? I always struggle with this. Where to put the final munition water? I mean, maybe we don't need to do that. No, we do. Right. So if we do that, we're blocking that, and that's bad. So we need to do something like... this. Dare I do that? Nope, that ruins the shape, and I don't like it. Okay, then. Let's do that. No. Dare I do that? Dare I do this? Whoops. That's not going to be attached at all. And over here. Something like that. This is definitely the jet fighter of all time. Where the hell do you usually put these? We could put it on the belly somewhere. Alright, so we've got all the basic things. We've got our weapon. And we probably need a 1-turn. I'm going to replace this with a 1-turn, just so, to make sure it is actually going in the right direction. Let me set that to that. The 1-turn's activation is that. And how are we doing for cost? So let's save our little guy here. Our little friend. And we're just gonna go... Where should I put him? Put him in tutorial craft, because that's a fun folder. So... complete... jet plane. Right, let's see how this little guy flies. Let's go check the fuel. Do we have enough fuel? We actually have more fuel than we actually need, so I'm going to replace some of this with material storage, because it is cheaper. Let's see. That is exactly 150 units of fuel per second. Alright, this looks like... I don't know what this thing looks like. It definitely looks like something. Alright, so now we're like that, and one of the reasons I like using alloy is because this thing can get out of the water. So, let's start with... let's lock onto you first, and let's set the behavior. What do we want? We want An attack run 2.0. We could do many things here. Let's try. I've never used attack run 3.0, so let's. It's a combination of the two. So let's do U-turn and let's set that to default just to see what happens. And break off distance, pitch our target altitude. Break off altitude. All right, so let's not do that. Let's do 150. Engagement altitude. The altitude below the target that we used during the attack run. Let's do 300. Actually, let's do 200, 300. So you fly up. That sounds like a good thing. Now here's where the magic happens. If we go plane, look at this thing getting out of the water. So pitch towards target altitude is what I literally always set for this. And that'll frickin' do. We are actually flying. Can this thing go in the right direction, though, is the question. So, can we do that? This thing is currently confused, and that is because this is not set correctly. There we go. Now we're turning. And we want it, if we wanted to be cute, we could do something like... What do we want to do there? Let's do maneuver. Let's see there. Maneuver, wander distance, maximum roll for bank and turns. Let's set that a little bit higher. Set that to 10 degrees. Let's see what happens. You got to be careful with that, just so the thing doesn't actually roll into the water. That's bad. Jolly good, jolly good, jolly good. Right, I am going to add breadboard to this. Don't you worry. It's a little wobbly right now, which is absolutely fine. So let us set a range limit. This is something that people tend to forget. Let's set that to -10. Altitude limit. Let's set that to 1,500. And let's also set the start delay to about 1 second, because that seems like a good idea. So, is this going to be the best air superiority jet of all time? Probably not. Let's throw this against... let's throw it against a Duster and see what happens. Oh, I did not set up the flares. Alright, we are now flying away from the target. We have flopped into the water. This is the problem with planes. And we've won anyway. No, we haven't. It missed. No! Maybe too much roll control. This is why, by the way, I usually turn this off. Although the fact that we have our yaw set so high is probably why we're rolling around so much. Let's try that again. Will that be better? And you flop directly into the ocean. Rude. This is embarrassing. Oh dear. Let's see here. Let's actually do a behavior I actually know how to do. I am airborne. Let's do 3. Let's do 50. And let's do that. And try that. And see if we do better there. Aha! There we go. Wait a minute, was this set to frag? What the hell? I wanted explosives. Thank you very please. Alright, so first test. Duster. We killed it. It is now death spiraling. Probably need to set this to be different. Let's see here. Guidance activation delay. Let's halve that. There we go. Things rolling around, and now it is too high. And this is what happens when things death spiral. So, we've made a functional plane, but by gum, we can make it better. And you'll notice that I have set up a little breadboard here. First thing we're going to do, we are going to stop this thing from moving, because it'll make us sick. This jet controller on the left, we are going to name this left jet. Very important. And then over here, we're going to name this one Shift N, right jet. Breadboard is kind of an advanced thing, but at the same time, this bread is fairly easy to set up once you get the hang of it, and I would be so remiss if I didn't include it somehow. Also, I think I didn't set this up, so let's do here, what are we, enemy, missile torpedoes, missiles, target and action, weapons, defenses, weapon systems, fire weapons, and it's gonna go flare. And we drop stuff out the back, and it's all good. Beautiful. How's our ammo? Perfect. Okay. Now, let's go to the breadboard. Actually, let's keep flying along and see how that actually looks like. Test. And out it goes. Perfect. And turn that off, lest we go mad. Alright, so first thing we want to do, we want propulsion. So, we've got a left jet and a right jet, so we can do full 3D thrust vectoring. I've made a tutorial on this before, but we're covering it again here, just so we know what's what. So we're going to do here, propulsion, 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 propulsion. First things first is going to be yaw. Yaw right and left, because both jets are going to control yaw the same way. They are going to set a particular angle. So, what do we want here? We want to multiply, and we want... Let's see, 15. I believe this is multiply. I usually prefab this, so I might struggle here. And then we want a generic block setter, which is over here. Best component ever. This is baby bread, by the way. There are people who do bread much better than I do, thank goodness. And let's do that. And what do we want to do here? We want to set your angle like so. And now let's just set that to jet. Remember what our jets are called. So if I'm in the hot seat here, what does the jet do? Okay. Aha! Foolish, foolish, foolish. I did not turn off automatic propulsion. Noob mistake. Right, so that is turning left and right, so that is set up correctly. Perfect. Now we want pitch and roll. So this is going to be set to pitch. This is going to be set to roll. This is going to be set to pitch, and this is going to be set to roll, and we're going to have a multiply and a sum function. So, and let's go here, sum goes here, sum goes here, multiply goes here. I might need to go look at the bread that I have done in the past to actually get this to set up right, because if you don't do the same bread over and over, you are going to have a bad time. So, let's go... Nope, it's two multiplies, actually. Whoops. Okay, and multiply, and sum, and generic block setter, and generic block setter, and this guy is going to be small jet controller, and is going to be start with the left jet, and roll. It's going to be here, so if the roll output is positive, is roll right. So that's going to be positive, I believe. I am reminding myself how this works. So when we want that, we want that, and we want that, and we want that, and that's going to be pitch. And then this over here is exactly the same, except the roll is set negatively, I believe. So that's left jet, and this is going to be right jet, because when that is positive, we want that to be positive. Actually, this needs to be negative, I believe. I forget. We're learning together. Gotta remember that, and let's see here, like so, and over here, jet controller, over here, and then we're gonna have the pitch angle like so, left jet, right jet. Now, moment of truth, let's see there, if I pitch down, that is incorrect, because these things are at the reverse. So if I want to pitch down, that's gonna pitch us up, so I need to change this to be negative, like so, Bear in mind, the actual multiply is going to be different if you put stuff on the front or back. We're going to be talking about that more when we make a prop plane. Yes, I plan to do that. So let's try it again. So pitch up is going to be... Wait a minute. So pitch down... Wait, no. What the hell? What the heck? That's not right at all. Was I correct before and I corrected myself wrong? Alright, pitch. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Aha! Alright, so... this is set up correctly. Incorrectly, probably. So you just gotta remember to make sure your jet is facing in the correct orientation. Otherwise, you might have a bad day. Alright, so let's see. I want to pitch down. Aha. Aha. Right. What is happening here? That's because I didn't do that. Let's do this now. Pitch down. That's still pitching. Wait, no, that's pitching up. That's correct. And pitch down is like that. Perfect. Alright, so if I want to roll to the right... perfect. And if I want to roll to the left... perfect. Okay. So we've got your setup. We've got... that setup. In case anyone's watching this wondering what the hell is happening here, what is happening is that the breadboard is controlling these angles right here, pitch and yaw. And it's just plugged in there, and the block is named so it knows which ones to control, controlling all of them separately. This might look complicated, but once you remember this, it should all be good. So now, let's see if it does this correctly. And it appears to be doing it correctly, which is fantastic. And breadboard thrust vectoring is incredibly useful. And I just remembered I need to go into the adjustments here. I want this thing to not be too low to the water. Again, rookie mistake. It's been a while since I've actually built a plane completely from scratch like this. Alright then, so now let us see. The combat testing is the really fun bit of this. So let's do that. And let's do... what are we going to do? Let's test against some kind of plane. Let's test against a Shrike. Intercepting! Shrike! Go forth! Whee! Kablooey! We have successfully shot down a Shrike. Baby's first jet fighter. Okay, I like this little guy. I think he's good. And of course, the final touches is of course the cosmetics. And so we are going to... what are we going to do? We're going to set up some camo. We're going to go hashtag camo. Let's make it camo digital. What kind of digital? Let's go camo digital 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like 5. Let's do that. And let's copy that over there. Down to the wings. So it looks like that. Hell yeah, we have a futuristic as balls jet fighter. And now we're going to do some quick, lightning fast decoration work, because that would be fun. So here we're going to go hide original mesh. And it looks like that. We have a lovely, lovely glass looking cockpit of a sort. Doesn't need to be insane. Doesn't need to be cuckoo crazy. There we go. We have glass. Perfect. We could be more cool than that, but I don't feel like it. So let's go. What are we going to do here? We have our nose. What else can we do? That's basically it. We have a little functional jet fighter. It only took us about half an hour, even though I faffed around and had to do things. Let's throw this against something that has missiles and can shoot back. It's definitely not going to be able to deal with a flying squirrel. How well does this do against... what is... spiral squadrons are probably a bit too much. How well do you do? Let's see how you do against a Gotha. Let's see if you die immediately. Is that set up correctly? And of course, if you want to... let's see, then... and we actually managed to hit it. And we're flying overhead, and the Gotha can't even aim at us. Beautiful, beautiful, and we're just over 500 meters. And missiles definitely need some work, although they are quite agile, and we just blew the Gotha into the Gotha is so fun to explode. Perfect! Alright, But of course we absolutely need the final test of all, most potent test. How are we doing? And this thing isn't actually eating too many resources, which is super cool. Look at our little jet fighter. Alrighty. Let's throw it against a Marauder and see what happens. So this turned out very well. So that is how you make a complete plane, start to finish. This is only one of many ways to do it, by the way. Many different ways you could build a plane. It doesn't have to be built like this at all, but this is one example. So we're going to build a different plane next time. I don't know when next time will be, but we're probably going to build a prop plane, start to finish, and then maybe a bomber or something, and that'll be really handy. So, complete... Uh-oh. Alright, let's set an activation delay. So go here, start delay 2, make sure you're aimed the right way. This is the thing with From the Depths. This is complete, but is it as good as it could be? I'm not so sure. It could be, but then again, it might not be. So now this thing has stalled, and yes! Perfect. One of them missed. I think one of them flopped directly into the ocean, which is embarrassing, and then it's going to flop directly into the ocean. Some more. And of course, we don't have to have this thing fly overhead. We can mess with behaviors. I tend to like my planes to circle. This one probably would benefit from circling, honestly. This thing definitely needs to benefit from circling, because let's make this distance. Begin attack, run when beyond 500 meters, and let's make that 90 meters. See what happens. And we probably also want to set some kind of missile controller thing. Anyway, let's see here. What you doing? You going to drop those? Yes, you are. Kablooey, and are you gonna make it, little guy? Yes, you are. Why are you aiming for, like, funny things? That's weird. Let's go 1,000 meters, and then we'll stop. Alrighty, so that was a complete plane. Like, most of that was just me waffling, and that's fine. I like the snoot on this plane. I like this little guy. Look at this little plane being all plane-like. It's a plane, but it's a plane indeed. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and if it wasn't helpful, I hope it was fun to watch me struggle to remember how to make breadboard. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Like, at the lowest tier, access to a Patreon-exclusive Discord, where you can hang out with me and other cool people. And at the top tier, I will build planes for you. Or anything. Or draw pictures for you of anything. Almost anything. There's limits. And, yeah, check out my other channels and my Twitch. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy plane making. And I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell. This is my plane, it is a plane, but it's my plane and I'm happy with it. Kaboom!